Coming up on today's wrestling news, WWE have had to have a talk with Ronda Rousey.
I've got a Rumour-Killer on the next AEW signing.
A women's Elimination Chamber match has been announced for Saudi Arabia.
And romance is blossoming in the land of the WWE.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Phil Chambers.
And this is the news. So let's start with the opening story regarding Ronda Rousey, who came across as, in WWE's words, a little bit bitter in her second night back in the company. She obviously returned at the Royal Rumble, winning the Women's Royal Rumble, punching her ticket to WrestleMania, and then she popped up on Monday Night Raw last week to confront Becky Lynch, and it just came across a little bit weird. They did a lot of audio sweetening of the audience, and apparently, as a result of that, WWE had a bit of a chat about her tone. I don't know, the way she delivered it. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but regardless, it does seem to have had an effect because the SmackDown promo she got was far better. But anyway, this is all according to Dave Meltzer on the latest episode of Wrestling Observer Radio. Ronda is still legitimately a little bit upset and bitter towards fans regarding how they sort of turned on her during her previous run with the company. Apparently this has all been dealt with now, though. Yes, she's had issues. Yes, they probably hold a bit of a grudge against her, some fans, for what she said when she wasn't wrestling for WWE, and even sometimes when she was. But it's all been smoothed out by the sounds of things. And she was high-fiving fans after announcing she will face Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. It feels a little bit like something and nothing, but I'm glad that they dealt with this because the dynamic would have been a little bit weird otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was the biggest question mark about Ronda Rousey's return. As exciting as it is in terms of like what matchups and things we can get, there's still that big question mark over what the fans was actually going to think after everything that she said while she was away. And it seemed like we've kind of got a bit of the answer, but it's like the one on Raw, like she just almost felt like she didn't want to be there.
Yes.
Like she'd done this triumphant return at the Royal Rumble, and then it's just like, oh, we gotta go to work on Raw. But at least the one on SmackDown, she was at least like happy and a bit excited.
She dropped a bitch, didn't she?
Did, yeah. So hopefully this is a sign of things going forward, and they've sorted this little problem out, and this is just a little bump on the road to WrestleMania.
And you know what? I'll hold my hands up, because we were sat here during the Royal Rumble, after the Royal Rumble, saying she has to face Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Now, I will caveat this by saying they've said she is going to face Becky Lynch, or that's the general presumption, next year at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But things and plans can change, so I'm going to hold you to that, WWE. But I will say for now, I think it's a far better decision because fans want to cheer Becky Lynch but can't, and aren't sure about Ronda Rousey. The dynamic would have been all over the shop. Everyone hates Charlotte Flair, so whoever she's facing, great. And if it's Ronda Rousey, who personally, I know she said a lot of stuff, and she has a lot of views I disagree with outside of the wrestling ring, I'm glad she's back and I'm going to cheer for her.
Yeah, absolutely. At least with Charlotte, it's cut and dry who is supposed to be the face and who is supposed to be the heel, whereas Becky Lynch, well, it's not been cut and dry ever since she turned heel because the fans still desperately want her.
She came back. Oh, cheater. I won in like 10 seconds or whatever.
I hate you guys. Yay!
She hates us. She hates me in particular.
But moving over now, across to AEW, there's obviously been a lot of hype over who this big debut is going to be on Wednesday. Tony Khan was hyping it up on Twitter after Rampage. But
that's because their ratings are in the toilet.
This is true. Saying huge signings on the way, etc. for this new ladder match thing that they're up to. But I've got a bit of a Rumour-Killer from Fightful Select on who it's not going to be. And that, I've got a quote from it. It just says, "We've been told pretty firmly that it's not Jeff Hardy." Who obviously has a no-compete until March because he was only released in December. So this 90 days isn't up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, probably shouldn't have reported that as our headline story yesterday, that it was going to be Jeff Hardy.
Probably, yeah. That's your bad.
These are things to develop. I did say it yesterday that, people are saying it's going to be Jeff Hardy, but he should be allowed to wrestle until March. And we were like, maybe they gave him a bad contract? I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah.
But I wasn't in yesterday, so that was entirely your fault.
That's all on me. No great surprise this, really, is it? Like, I get it. Jeff Hardy probably will eventually sign for AEW. He's obviously had a lot of back and forth with WWE in recent months.
Yeah, him and Matt have announced a bunch of dates for like indie shows and things happening in March anyway. So there's definitely going to be something, like maybe one last run of the Hardy Boys in AEW.
We'll say that report does not say anything about it not being Shane McMahon, of course.
Or it not being Willow.
Oh, yeah, he's got no contract with anyone. I'm excited and a little bit nervous about this because let's be honest, yes, AEW have signed some amazing people and had some incredible moments with Cole and Danielson and Punk, obviously, and the list goes on. They may have botched quite a few debuts, in my opinion, and then fixed them.
Yeah.
Like, here's Miro. Oh, what are you doing with him? Oh, he's great now. But some of them they absolutely nail. But also they've got a track record of this is going to be a big thing.
Tony Khan likes his hype.
And then, no offense to him, I'm a huge fan of his. I still popped when he came out. When it was like Ethan Page and then like Christian, people are like, I was kind of hoping it was going to be, I don't know, The Rock or something.
So maybe temper expectations a little bit, because they do have a bit of a track record with this.
Yeah.
But it should be good fun. It's just the way he's wording it. Like, they'll open the forbidden door, sign a contract on Dynamite, and then slam the door in their previous employer.
I hate the phrase forbidden door. I'm with Pamphlet.
They've jumped the shark with it,
yeah. Anyway, we've got a question about who he could be and later on in our Twitter question, so we'll come back to that. And instead move on to the Elimination Chamber. It goes down, a week on Saturday?
Yep.
Oh, it's an Saturday afternoon pay-per-view. Yes, please. I mean, it is in Saudi Arabia, and, they've got some pretty bad habits, let's just say, over there.
Habits.
But, Anyway, let's talk about what they've announced on Monday Night Raw, because there is going to be a women's Elimination Chamber match. It's really gone from 0 to 100 with what they
really
allow the women to do wrestling-wise in Saudi Arabia. They've announced 5 of the 6 competitors. It is going to be Bianca Belair, get in. Rhea Ripley, fantastic. Liv Morgan, great. Good stuff. And Nikki ASH, who can't stop losing. And a mystery entrant. I mean, it's going to be Alexa Bliss, isn't it? It's clearly going to be Alexa Bliss. But anyway, at that show, the winner of the Elimination Chamber, Phil Chambers, will go on to face the winner of Becky Lynch versus Lita for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So they'll go on to face Becky Lynch. No offense to Lita, but they'll go on to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I didn't see them putting a whole bloody chamber match on for the women, I've got to be honest.
Nope, gotta think. I thought the Becky versus Lita thing was probably going to be the only thing for the women in this show, but it's good that they're taking steps. They're baby steps.
Yep.
Very small little baby steps.
Still
but they
an
are
awful
taking
regime.
Forward,
yeah.
Considering when they were with that first show, they've come away. They've come some distance.
Yep. I mean, in terms of, I love an Elimination Chamber, especially a number 1 contenders, because it really establishes they deserve it. And if it goes the way you and I assume it's going to go, Bianca Belair wins.
Yeah.
In terms of revamping her into a title match, because she had a lot and she lost a lot against Becky, but it was always through shenanigans. But still, she was just sort of losing to fans. Maybe she eliminates everyone like Shayna Baszler did. Maybe they'll book this one correctly for once.
Absolutely. And I also love the fact that Nikki Ash is in there, and it's probably the sort of arena to put the most hurt on her after what she did at the Royal Rumble.
Forgot that.
I will never ever forgive her.
She could jump off
destroy her.
She could jump off one of the pods and fly very briefly before getting, I don't know, dropped by Rhea Ripley. I like Rhea Ripley.
Nobody catches her, she just falls flat on her face. Hopefully. God damn it.
Maybe the 6th entrant will be Mighty Molly.
Maybe.
It won't. It'll be Alexa Bliss.
That would fix everything. But moving over.
Oh, here we go.
Well, staying on WWE. There is romance blossoming within the WWE landscape once again. But this time it's over in the 24/7 division.
Oh, good.
If you can call it a division. Because Dana and Reggie, it seems like there's a little bit of a something
They're just
going
friends,
on there. They are just friends. So there was a bunch of 24/7 nonsense on the show, and Reggie is helping Dana escape and things like that. And then after a while, Brooke said to Reggie, "I want to thank you for everything you do for me and for always having my back and for being such a nice guy. I'm a better champion because of you." And then Reggie was like, "Oh, but what does this all mean?" And Dana was like, "Oh, it just means we're friends.
Friend zone, nice.
Really good friends." Immediately friend zone. And then he gave her a hug and kissed him on the cheek. And then gave him a hug, and then there was this weird moment after the hug where they kind of looked at each other. It's like, "Oh, are they gonna kiss? Are they not?" And they're like, "Oh no, sorry." And then a bunch of the 24/7 idiots
Truth leading them.
Truth and Tamina, etc.
Yeah.
And chased them off. But is romance blossoming? Are we gonna get another WWE wedding? Are we gonna get Reggie stand there at the altar just about to marry Dana Brooke and then turn around and roll him up into the cake? Ah!
I mean, if they're going to do romance bollocks, do it with the 24/7
I know, yeah,
for me.
100%.
But I
want that roll up into a cake.
I just love sexual tension. We all have our vices, as Kurt Angle once said.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to roll her up.
Really bad WWE sexual tension.
He's definitely going to roll her up for the wedding. It's 100% going to happen. But You know what?
I'm
Kind of into it.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Dale Smart, who says, "Good morning, legends. Do you think Matt Cardona is walking through the forbidden door on AEW Dynamite?"
I would be interested to see this version of Matt Cardona.
He's brilliant.
Full-on heel sports entertainment bastard Matt Cardona. But I don't think so, unfortunately. I think it's going to be Keithus Leas, personally, and I'm very much into it because him versus Sammy Guevara when he wins the ladder match and then goes on to get the TNT Championship match. That is a match I would like to see.
Yes, please. I also want to see him pounce someone on his first night in the company.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree it's Keith Lee. But if it isn't Keith Lee, it should be Matt Cardona. You're right there, Dale.
He deserves to have this character on a run.
Yeah, because they had him in AEW before, didn't they? And he was just sort of Cody's mate.
Yeah.
He sort of didn't really know. You know, everyone has that moment when they leave WWE and they're like, I don't know what I am.
Then he went to Impact and he was still kind of the same character, but then he fully discovered himself in GCW and has taken that.
How many people can you say that about? And then they went to GCW and discovered themselves.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. He's so good at riling up fans.
Great.
Like, maybe he comes back and partners with Cody again to be the most unbearable pairing.
Yeah.
Actually, chuck Brandy into it and it's an unbearable threesome for me. But yes, we'll wait and see. Looking forward to it. But it's not going to be Jeff Hardy, but I reckon you're right. I think it probably will be Keith Lee. Matthew Galmer gives us our second question of the day. Matthew writes, "Morning, gents. How long do you think it'll be till we get a New Day member turn on the group? And who could you see it being? Stay classy." Why do people want this to happen, Phil?
Never. Please, never. Just for once, let us have one nice thing that doesn't have to end up in a wrestling angle. Just let them all be friends. They really like being friends.
I know WWE doesn't understand friendships, but sometimes you can just be friends with your friends, and that's it.
And that doesn't mean I'd ever be against having a New Day versus a New Day match at some point, but you can do that in a completely different fashion by them all being friends with the handshake at the beginning and just like a sportsman's agreement, and then go out and have a match.
And also, I know it's probably been said quite a lot, what are they doing with Big E? He was world champion a few months back, and you were like, oh, okay, well, they did day one because I got something with Brock Lesnar, but you got Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. And then I was like...
Fix him at the Rumble. We'll fix him at the Rumble.
He was just there.
No.
He got eliminated.
Fix him at Elimination Chamber. They'll fix him at... Nope.
It's not
even in the match.
The only way this works out all right is if E is now the person to take the title off Roman Reigns. That's my opinion. Because they've moved him to SmackDown for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
You dare drop him, I know they already have, but you dare keep him in this bloody tag team division. We're going to have words. Okay, this is a line for me. You crossed it. But I'm sorry. Who was it? Matt. Sorry, Matt. None of them. Yeah. None of them. I don't need seeing edgy Big E. No, he likes having fun. That's legitimately who he is everywhere. He's just a lovely bloke. Stop trying to make everyone a heel. So hopefully you know what, Matt. Apologies for that. Right, great conspiracy theory here.
Hello.
I'm not a fan of a lot of conspiracy theories, especially recent ones. But Wrestling with Doom writes, is there any chance Shagger Dave, correct terminology, that's how we call Dave Meltzer here, is withholding a 5-star rating from MJF for a storyline? MJF versus Uncle Dave, Bucket Longbone Tone. This is a real point of contention for me as well, Phil.
I kind of like it in a ridiculous fashion because it just highlights just how
I don't
much of
care
a fan
about
Dave Meltzer is, and he would be fully on board for something like this.
We talked about
he's just a fan.
We talked about this on WrestleCulture last week, WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, and you said a very good point. It's just one person's opinion.
Yeah, it's just a guy who happens to be a fan of wrestling who started writing about wrestling a long time ago. Yes, he's good at his job and like built this reputation over years and years and years, but if you go back to it, he's still just a fan. He likes what he likes, he doesn't like what he doesn't like. Doesn't mean that the match wasn't 5 stars just because he didn't like it.
He's had 2 5-star matches now, Dave. Right? If you don't want to give it to Punk and MJF, fine. Give it to Darby Allin and MJF. That was literally the best match on the pay-per-view. How could you give it to someone else? Really also, you could give it to someone else and give it to MJF. Do it. Have MJF feud with Uncle Dave for me.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. That would be very good.
And oh my God, it'd be unbelievable.
The promos he'd cut on him.
Oh. It's not like he's not got a lot of material to work with Dave Meltzer. Goodness me. All right, let's move on to today's and finally. And something a little bit different for a wrestling channel. Phil Chambers, have you been watching much of the Winter Olympics?
I have not. I've seen clips of them ski jumping in front of cooling towers. That's about it.
Well, I will tell you something, that if you're a wrestling fan, you really should be watching the Winter Olympics, because they've literally stolen the set from SmackDown. So, if you like, what about the Attitude Era SmackDown?
It's happening right now in China.
It's in Beijing. That's what's going on. Go and watch the Winter Olympics. I also love a bit of curly. Oh, I'd love it. Should we do the WhatCulture Winter Olympics? We did the Summer Olympics.
We did the Summer Olympics, and I am your Olympic champion.
With all the Olympic sports, golf.
Mini golf at that.
Mini golf, and that was it.
That was it. So we should definitely do a Winter Olympics.
Let us know if Simon Miller wasn't involved, because he'd win all the events, obviously, who you think would win what events in the WhatCulture Winter Olympics. And maybe I'll give some of them a mention. Tweet them to us or stick them in the comments, and I'll give some of them a mention tomorrow. And how you think they would do it, because people can have like Dick Dastardly shenanigans in the...
some kind of wacky races bobsleigh.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we'd be good in a bobsleigh. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsleigh time. And that's the thought I'd like you to take with you today. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys.
Cool runnings. That was the origin of the egg.
Egg stop! Let us know your thoughts on Twitter as well, and Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, you can follow both of us. You can follow Phil Chambers at
Fill My Chambers, and you can follow Adam at
Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Phil Chambers. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.